Hi, this is Joe Wheaton, and I'm going to walk you through an exercise that is much better done in person. And we don't have to go all the way out and do a real field trip, but at least get outside. And this is something that I hope those of you watching will attempt to do on your own. You can do it entirely by yourself. You could probably do it in a socially distanced way if you need to. But it's a really good exercise for simulating a lot of what happens during construction. We use it during the workshop as an icebreaker, and I'll just walk you through this. So we asked those of you that were signed up for the virtual workshop, how many BDAs have you built personally? And there's a whole bunch of you that have built, 1 to 10. So, almost, 180 or something. But that's pretty small scale, right? That's, just maybe like a pilot. Uh, there are the vast majority of you that haven't ever built a BDA at all. So this is the perfect exercise. And we asked people, a lot of people have seen this recipe. This recipe, Elijah Portugal, who's now with California Department of Fish and Wildlife, when he used to work for us at Anna Branch and at Utah State, he made this little detail, and it just got spread around like wildfire. And this was one of the things that perpetuated how BDAs were built for a while. And so what we have is an exercise that's based off of that has since been slightly redrawn and updated. It's put into the appendix of chapter 4, and you're going to hear after this little talk, you're going to hear the overview of low tech stuff, and so you'll hear Steve Bennett and Scott Cheverdian talk about some of this. So this is the sort of profile view going down the channel, cross section, looking up the channel, and plan form view of one of these wicker weaves, okay? And so in the pocket guide, which you all have access to for free, there is in the very, very back, page 55 and 56, there's this recipe. And so what we do is we give everybody the ingredients. We have them lined up outside, and we give them a little safety talk so that they, don't get splinters. Notice everyone's wearing hard hats, gloves, eye and ear protection, and then we let them have at it. And it's a pretty fun little exercise. It takes about 15 minutes to half hour at most. And we just watch and laugh. So I guess this is sort of a form of university sanctioned hazing. And while we're laughing, and I'll come back and show you this little time lapse here. Actually, we can do this right now. So here you go. You got a few groups, right? They're shoving the posts into some buckets with gravel to hold it upright, and then they're putting the wicker weave through, right? We've pre-cut a bunch of willow for them, and so they can weave that through. I think this poor group, we were dealing with not fresh cut willow, so it was getting a little desiccated. I think we had taken it to like 3 or 4 workshops. But yeah, they're going through, and then you can see occasionally someone looking at their pocket guide. It's so funny to watch this. Usually what happens is the women, being smart, read the instructions, and the men just kind of look at the picture and go, oh, yeah, I've got this. And so groups that are led by a field crew of or by a crew lead of women actually usually do better, and those with men often don't do as well, which is kind of funny. But afterwards, we then give them something to make their parents proud. So you can go and tell your parents that when you get one of these little cards that fits in your wallet, that you have earned a certificate of completion in underwater basket weaving. And so, yeah, this is just sort of a silly exercise, but on a more serious note, What we then do is let them explain what they did. Each group explains how they built it, and then they can kind of ask questions of each other and critique each other. As an extra touch, and this is on the website, you can predict what the hydraulic response is. And so I'm showing here what we're pretending is our channel, and what the zone of influence for this structure flowing this way would be. And so this is the original channel at low flow going through here. And then this zone of influence is expecting some flooding out onto this adjacent floodplain surface and some return flow. So this is a primary dam. It's a little higher. It's actually, the crest elevation is higher than the adjacent floodplain. And then this is a secondary dam that's built with a crest elevation just at or below. So this one backs up water and takes up some of the head. So we can do that, and you can actually do the same thing for PALs. You're just using different details, and it actually goes even quicker. And you tend to, for PALs, want to use some bigger pieces of wood. In this case, there was some apple branches that were blocking the driveway where we parked some of our gear, so we just cut those in, and we had a little bit bigger diameter stuff to play with. But this is a pretty basic exercise, and what we did in the virtual workshop was had a little discussion of the common questions that come up. And so you can watch that video to hear that discussion.